I googled, why did apartheid end? Which is awkward because once you type it, it comes off a little bit like, oh, why did apartheid end?
You can't leave two white girls to discuss hip-hop unsupervised.
Literally nothing has changed for the cockroach since 1994. Nothing.
Hello and welcome to This Is Why. I'm Gilli Apter.
And my name is Tats Nkonzo. America has rejoined the space race as Elon Musk's company SpaceX blasted astronauts Robert Behnken and Douglas Hurley into orbit last week. Now, although it's not the first time that Americans have seen two white men shooting in the blackness before them, it is the first time done from US soil in 9 years.
NASA's space shuttle fleet was retired in 2011 and since then has relied on Russia for transport to the International Space Station at up to $90 million per astronaut, making it the most expensive ride anyone's been taken on since the last person who brought ripen-at-home avos at Woolies.
Today, the country continues in level 3 lockdown status, meaning the relaxation of many of the very strict regulations that South Africans were pretending to live by since March 27th. But the question on every South African's lips today is it safe to be outside? And did I leave the geyser on? Gilli, how are you feeling over there?
I don't know, the economy suddenly being reopened like this makes it feel like the government is making decisions the way I make bad decisions when I run out of money. I stop eating kale salads at Tasha's and start thinking things like, suppose McDonald's isn't that bad if I don't eat the chips?
McDonald's is going out in this instance, right?
Right, and Tasha's is staying in. I don't know why we've gone with restaurants as a metaphor during Corona, but...
Because you miss Tasha's, don't you?
Yes.
But the thing is, they do have strict health regulations that people have to adhere to, right? You have to wear masks, you have to sanitize your hands, you can't...
That's like sending people into McDonald's and telling them not to eat the chips for health reasons.
Because you're gonna eat the chips eventually.
Even if you don't order chips, you're gonna eat someone else's chips. That's the thing about chips. They must be eaten. People are gonna go out, try not eat the chips, and eat the chips.
It actually sounds like a very good tagline. McDonald's, you're gonna eat the chips eventually. Stay safe, stay home if you can.
And if you're gonna eat the chips, wash your hands before and after.
And now, onto our main story. Black Lives Matter, a global movement. George Floyd died after being arrested by Minneapolis police last week. His death has now been ruled a homicide. George Floyd was killed by white police officer Derek Chauvin, and as a result of the crime, there have been protests all over America, some peaceful, some including looting, rioting, and violence.
When I look at what's happening in America, I realize that white South Africans have black South Africans to thank for saving us from ourselves.
What do you mean?
I mean, America has had hundreds of years to solve this problem and they haven't. We always talk about how we're behind the rest of the world, but it's becoming clear that we're advanced in many ways. It hasn't taken long within this time since our democracy for us to start arresting people for racist acts. That's big. We don't wait for someone to get murdered. Look at Vicky Momberg. We clapped her the first time she said the K word 48 times.
Because everybody knows you never let them get to 50 times.
I now live in a country where my whiteness is checked, which seems like a bad thing, but ultimately I get saved from my own inhumanity, and that's a blessing. I can't go full Karen. I can't call the SAPS and accuse a black bird watcher of attacking me. No one would believe me.
That's most probably because you said black and bird watcher in the same sentence.
The then government was made to stop apartheid. White South Africans were vastly outnumbered, and that made it unsustainable economically. Change didn't come from goodwill. White South Africans didn't wake up one morning and go, you know what, darling? I've been thinking about it and they're right. That's not how it happened. Trust me. I googled, why did apartheid end? Which is awkward because once you type it, it comes off a little bit like, oh, why did apartheid end? The point is, a movement that is mobilized against racism is essential. Without it, South Africa would have carried on as it was.
And where would the thriving black bird watching community of South Africa be then?
Nowhere.
But if I'm honest, sometimes it feels like an almost impossible problem for America to solve. Like here in South Africa, we haven't even solved it, and there's only like 4 white people here. Black people are the majority in South Africa, and still our law enforcement kills our people.
So I guess the question is, why are we here worried about some guy named George Floyd in America when black South Africans have been killed by the SANDF and the SAPS?
Because it's all one thing. We should be worried about George Floyd. The same way that Americans should be worried about our Collins Khoza. They should be worried about our Adani Emmanuel. They should be worried about our Petrus Michels and our Sibusiso Amos. Even if they can't pronounce those names, they should be worried about it because it's all the same thing. All of this is about how black people are seen and valued by white people, yes, but also by other people all over the world, including black people. The same mentality that killed George Floyd, trust me, is the same mentality that killed Collins. It's the same mentality that killed Adane. It's the same mentality that killed Petrus. It's the same mentality that killed Sibusiso. It's a mentality that says black lives don't really matter.
And that's why Black Lives Matter needs to be a global movement.
Yeah, yes. Because we're already connected. We just now have to start using that connection to empower and protect each other globally.
The problem is that it seems crazy for us as South Africans to try to help Americans. Because, it's...
Yeah, because it's America.
Yes, exactly. With, it's Oprah and it's Chicago Bulls and it's Statue of Liberty and Hollywood and...
America. Yeah, we're not supposed to save America. America saves America. In fact, America saves us.
Right, so we feel kind of stupid trying to help them. It's like that time that average human man said that he could take Serena at tennis.
It's like a car guard who's trying to help you park your car when you have 7 cameras and an automatic park function.
But clearly they need our help.
Yes, and they need our help. They need black people's help. Black people from all over the world. Just like South Africa needed Shenene and Shaniqua to say stop apartheid. America needs Xolisa, Thamsanqa and Cyril to say again and again, Black Lives Matter. It needs to be heard from all over the world. They need our numbers. The straw that broke the camel's back wasn't the heaviest straw. It was just another straw.
Yes, and straws only work if there's a lot of them. Just ask the turtles.
Exactly. Black Lives Matter. Say it. Tweet it. Post it. Tell your mom. This is why.